My fellow graduates, We are really excited about welcoming you to our graduation ceremonies. Due to COVID-19, things will be a little different. Instead of shaking hands with the Vice-Chancellor, you'll doff your cap. This means that when your name is called as you walk across the stage and meet the Vice-Chancellor, doff your cap. Don't take your cap off, just put your right hand to the edge of your cap and give a little nod to the Vice-Chancellor, and then continue walking across the stage. Congratulations on your achievement. If you have any questions about graduation, please visit york.ac.uk/graduation or email graduation@york.ac.uk. Thank you. We are really excited about welcoming you to our graduation ceremonies. Due to COVID-19, things will be a little different. Instead of shaking hands with the Vice-Chancellor, you'll doff your cap. This means that when your name is called as you walk across the stage and meet the Vice-Chancellor, doff your cap. Don't take your cap off, just put your right hand to the edge of your cap and give a little nod to the Vice-Chancellor, and then continue walking across the stage. Congratulations on your achievement. If you have any questions about graduation, please visit york.ac.uk/graduation or email graduation@york.ac.uk. Thank you. We are really excited about welcoming you to our graduation ceremonies. Due to COVID-19, things will be a little different. Instead of shaking hands with the Vice-Chancellor, you'll doff your cap. This means that when your name is called as you walk across the stage and meet the Vice-Chancellor, doff your cap. Don't take your cap off, just put your right hand to the edge of your cap and give a little nod to the Vice-Chancellor, and then continue walking across the stage. Congratulations on your achievement. If you have any questions about graduation, please visit york.ac.uk/graduation or email graduation@york.ac.uk. Thank you. We are really excited about welcoming you to our graduation ceremonies. Due to COVID-19, things will be a little different. Instead of shaking hands with the Vice-Chancellor, you'll doff your cap. This means that when your name is called as you walk across the stage and meet the Vice-Chancellor, doff your cap. Don't take your cap off, just put your right hand to the edge of your cap and give a little nod to the Vice-Chancellor, and then continue walking across the stage. Congratulations on your achievement. If you have any questions about graduation, please visit york.ac.uk/graduation or email graduation@york.ac.uk. Thank you. We are really excited about welcoming you to our graduation ceremonies. Due to COVID-19, things will be a little different. Instead of shaking hands with the Vice-Chancellor, you'll doff your cap. This means that when your name is called as you walk across the stage and meet the Vice-Chancellor, doff your cap. Don't take your cap off, just put your right hand to the edge of your cap and give a little nod to the Vice-Chancellor, and then continue walking across the stage. Congratulations on your achievement. If you have any questions about graduation, please visit york.ac.uk/graduation or email graduation@york.ac.uk. Thank you. We are really excited about welcoming you to our graduation ceremonies. Due to COVID-19, things will be a little different. Instead of shaking hands with the Vice-Chancellor, you'll doff your cap. This means that when your name is called as you walk across the stage and meet the Vice-Chancellor, doff your cap. Don't take your cap off, just put your right hand to the edge of your cap and give a little nod to the Vice-Chancellor, and then continue walking across the stage. Congratulations on your achievement. If you have any questions about graduation, please visit york.ac.uk/graduation or email graduation@york.ac.uk. Thank you.
Graduands, guests and colleagues, my name is Mary Howarth and I am delighted to welcome you all to graduation. I have a few announcements to make before we begin so that you can relax and enjoy the ceremony. Graduands, an easy job to start with. Please check that your seat number matches the number on your ticket because you'll be called to the stage in this order. If you discover that these do not match, our team of stewards can help you to locate the correct seat. At the appropriate time, you'll be invited by the stewards to stand and to make your way to the foot of the stairs, ready to head up the stairs and across the stage. All very straightforward. There are two key things which make for a seamless ceremony. Firstly, as soon as the person ahead of you begins to cross the stage, please make sure you make your way up the stairs. Please don't wait until they've passed across the stage before you reach the top of the stairs. Secondly, don't let excitement and pride overwhelm you so much that you forget to pick up your parchment after you've crossed the stage. If you do, don't worry, you have still graduated. But don't try to go back because you will collide with someone coming the other way. Instead, please visit the graduation information desk in the Market Square where you collected your gown 30 minutes after the ceremony to collect your parchment. Graduands, you are asked to raise or doff your cap rather than shake hands with the Chancellor when you were called on stage. And please feel free to remove your face covering temporarily whilst on stage and pause for a moment at the spot marked X in the centre of the stage for that all-important photo opportunity. At the end of the ceremony, graduates are asked to process out of the hall directed by the stewards. Family and friends, the stewards will show you to the exits once the graduates have left the hall. If the fire alarm should sound at any point, please remain in your seats. Instructions will be given and we'll escort you to the nearest exit. Today, our graduating students become alumni of the University of York, and you will join an international community of over 140,000 York alumni in more than 180 countries. Your Alumni Association is a vibrant and active global network, offering events and services and opportunities that are designed to help you make connections with other alumni across the world and to support your career development. We will therefore be with you every step of the way as you embark on this next chapter, and you will shortly receive an email giving further details of the ways in which you can remain connected and involved. In the meantime, please follow our alumni social media channels on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and check out the Alumni Association website to keep in touch and learn more about life as a York graduate. As you get your first job or take up further study or training, please remember to keep us in touch with what you're doing. Understanding the career paths that you take will help us to provide the right support for current students and make sure we continue to offer graduates like you relevant information and opportunities. Finally, can I ask you please to mute your mobile phones, and if you're comfortably able, would you please now stand?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this graduation ceremony at the University of York. Please do be seated. First, by way of introduction, my name is Malcolm Grant. I'm the Chancellor of the University, which is an honorary role, but also with me today is the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Charlie Jeffrey, and a distinguished panel of representation from our academic departments at the university. We're delighted to have this opportunity to have a ceremony of graduation. Everybody in this room has been affected by the pandemic, not least our universities, and our universities across the world. It's been a time of dislocation. It's been a time of depression, of disease, and I think right across the world, the impact of death and isolation has been profound. The first 2 cases of COVID in this country were detected in January 2020, and the university had this turning point of having to try to continue to educate our students through a period in which lockdowns were coming and going, not just in Britain, but across the world, and of course still in China today. And this morning, as we gather here in the university, in the Grand Central Hall, I'm conscious that I'm talking not only to those who are here with us in person, but to those of our students who've been unable to come back to York to graduate in person, but are watching this online, and of course a much wider group of people, of family, friends and supporters who are joining with us, if not in person, then certainly in spirit today. So my first duty is to congratulate all of those who are graduating today, both here and also across the world, and to welcome those who are in the auditorium today as friends, family and supporters. We would have loved to have had the auditorium packed to the roof, as it would have been under normal circumstances, but these circumstances are certainly not normal. So we are delighted to welcome you here today, and it's my great pleasure to declare open this congregation for the conferment of awards. Thank you very much.
Dr. Mike Thornton will present awards on behalf of the Department of Economics and Related Studies.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Finance. Xiao Qin. Zhan Xu. Si Shan Zhang. For the degree of Master of Science in Project Analysis, Finance and Investment, Yingnan Guan.
Professor Paul Wakeling will present awards on behalf of the Department of Education.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Education. Jamili Dabul. Hong Huan Zhang. For the degree of Master of Arts in Global and International Citizenship Education, Shawan Azad. Yuna Chun. Christelle Le Goff. Yifei Chun. For the degree of Master of Arts in Social Justice and Education, Lin Zhao Zhang.
Professor Tony Ward will present awards on behalf of the Department of Electronic Engineering.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Engineering Management. Panish B.S. Chifan Dai. Nishani Ganeshan. Joseph Anil George. Soraya Manjuri. Snoba Nissa. Juan Pablo Paredes Rueda. Joseph Philip. Rashma Pramila Devi Sudarshanan. Eric Rojas Avalos. Ting Ting Sun. Aniket Saw. Vishnu Kirnan. Arun Vijay Kumar. Shufei Zhong. Yi Wen Zhong.
Professor Jaco Tyson will present awards on behalf of the Department of Mathematics.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Financial Engineering. Wan Yu Huang. For the degree of Master of Science in Mathematical Finance, Henry Curtis. Piruz Masumi. Julian Müller. And for the degree of Master of Science in Statistics and Computational Finance, Xixiao Zhang.
Dr. Anya Shiel will present awards on behalf of the Department of Music.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Music, Shuyao Zhang. For the degree of Master of Arts in Music Education, Instrumental and Vocal Teaching, Alicia Biro. Yi Ding. Shenfan Fang. James Hargreaves. Lisa McCloskey. James Poole. Xinyong Yen. For the degree of Postgraduate Diploma in Music, Vocal Studies, Faye Bonus.
Professor Nick Brown will present awards on behalf of the Department of Sociology.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Social Media and Management. Zhao Han. Yen Song Han. Shun Meng. Eleanor Skirty. Venu Prasad Savasubramaniam. Rui Xu. Fang Yang. Yan Chui Yang.
Professor Duncan Petrie will present awards on behalf of the Department of Theatre, Film, Television and Interactive Media.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Film and Television Production with Directing, Shi Li. For the degree of Master of Arts in Film and Television Production with Directing, Jiyu Wei. For the degree of Master of Arts in Film and Television Production with Producing, Elizabeth Willis. For the degree of Master of Science in Film and Television Production with Visual Effects, Devyani Santosh Kumar.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ensemble E-Anonomy will perform I Want You Back, arranged by Rachel Singer.
When I had you to myself, I didn't want you around. Those pretty faces always make you stand out in a crowd. But someone picked you from the bunch, and one glance is all it took. Oh, it's much too late for me to take a second look. Oh, baby, give me one more try. Show me that I love you. Won't you please let me back in your heart? Oh, darling, I was blind to let you go. But now, since I see you in his arms, I want you back. Yes, I do now. I want you back. Ooh, baby. I want you back. Yeah, 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 yeah. I want you back. Trying to live without your love is one long sleepless night. Let me show you, girl, that I know wrong from right. Every street you walk on, I leave tear stains on the ground. Following the girl, I didn't even want to run. Let me tell you now, baby, all I need is one chance. Won't you please let me back in your heart? Oh, darling, I was blind to let you go. To let you go, baby. Now, since I see you in his arms, Let me tell you now, baby, all I need is one touch. Show you that I love you. Won't you please let me back in your heart? Oh, darling, I was blind to let you go, baby. Now, since I see you in his arms, baby, all I need is one touch. Show you that I love you, baby, let me back in your heart. Oh, darling, I was blind to let you go, baby. Now, since I see you, I want you back.
It is my enormous pleasure to introduce Laura Nicklin, our student orator who will speak on behalf of the class of 2022. Our student orators have been invited to speak in recognition of their hard work on behalf of the student community and commitment to their studies. Our speakers have both pursued the most enriching experience they could during their time at York, as well as giving back to their community. On behalf of the class of 2022, I give you Laura Nicklin.
My fellow graduates, esteemed attendees, honoured guests and our families and friends celebrating at home, it is my great privilege to welcome and address you at this graduation celebration ceremony. Now, before I start talking though, I'd actually like to stop and ask my fellow graduates to just take a moment, look around you and take this in. This is your moment, and whatever comes next, you have done so well to have reached this point. This may sound cliche, but don't take your moment for granted. Your university experience is so much more than a certificate, especially one that came in the post. You have learned more than you can even imagine from your time at university, from social life and academic experiences to overcoming hurdles, mental health and resilience. Your journey is yours, and graduating and coming back to graduate as we have today, that is huge. When you look back on your journey, make sure it's to recognise your achievements and just see how far you've come. As the first person in my huge family to ever attend university, I had no idea how far my journey would take me. Open Day was this alien world full of people asking all the right questions with all the right words. Honestly, I didn't know what to say or where to start. An education lecturer reached out to me though, and all those right questions and right words didn't seem to matter anymore, as I simply asked, can someone like me do this? I thought everyone was smarter, everyone knew more, everyone belonged, but that simple reassurance really made me go for it. Someone reaching out and just saying, of course you can, do it. I have since learned that we were and are very much all on our own journeys. Don't ever think anyone is more important or better than you are. It is that imposter syndrome that tries to take me all the way back to that kid on open day, and for sure there have been those along the way who doubted I would reach my goals, but you know how the story ends. I'm standing here today, and a big part of that is drawing on everything my time at York gave me. For me, in my home from home, I found an incredible supportive community in Derwent College, DC UK, and very much in my academic department in education too. Your experience is yours to keep forever. Whatever that experience was, that is yours to take away, and you get to leave here today knowing that nobody gets to tell you what you can and can't achieve. Now, for some people, you may have finished and thought, I'll graduate and I'll be sorted. For others, they may still be finding their way. It doesn't matter. What you have achieved and where you have come to is absolutely incredible, and this is about celebrating that you have made it. There is only one you, and if you want something, go after it. And if you do, and it's not quite what you thought, or if you go down one road and you have to change paths, That's all learning. It's life experience that feeds into your next steps. Now, as my amazing mum, who I couldn't be here without, told me all the way through university, you were only ever on loan to York. I was coming home. But the memories and the times you've had and the experiences you've got with the people you will never forget, those are yours to keep. Drawing on the legend underpinning most of my academic studies, William Shakespeare wrote, "Knowledge is the wing wherewith we fly." For every graduate here today who has ever been told or believes that they can't or doesn't know what their next steps look like 2 or 10 steps down the road, you have done so well, and the future might be a mystery, but for every roadblock, find a new route. Trying and not getting what you thought, that's not failing, it's life experience. And for every person that says you can't, I promise you, you can. You already have, and you will. Trust me, I'm a doctor now. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Charlie Jeffrey, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of York, will add his words of congratulation to the class of 2022.
Chancellor, graduates, guests and colleagues, it's a joy to be at this ceremony. We've only just become able to hold in-person graduations again after such a long time. And it's very sad that I know many members of your cohort simply couldn't get here because it's so difficult to travel internationally. But I'm absolutely delighted that at least some of the cohort can be here in person in a real room, not looking at a Zoom screen, to reflect on this crucial moment in your lives. We are marking today the creativity, the energy, the passion, and the sheer hard work that you, our new graduates, put into your studies. I'm looking at you here, and I can see what you're thinking, kind of, and you can see what I'm thinking. And I couldn't do that on a Zoom screen. So many congratulations. I'm sure that all my colleagues share the pride that I feel in your achievements, and I'm sure your supporters, family and friends do too. So I ask them, along with my colleagues, once again to applaud you, our new graduates. Now, the Chancellor mentioned in his opening speech some of the challenges we've had to work through, and I want to offer some further reflection on the challenges we've all faced over the last couple of years. And you may remember that 2 and a bit years ago, we were, in York, the lead item in the news, the centre of national and international attention when York saw the first confirmed COVID cases in the UK, one of them a student of ours. Little did we know, amid the media maelstrom at that time, that was just a prelude, and since then COVID has taken a horrifying toll. We've seen over 6 million deaths worldwide, more than 175,000 here in the UK. Many millions more have been ill, many of them badly so. Our economies have been severely disrupted and still are being disrupted, and we've endured so many restrictions on our social interactions, and we still do in many parts of the world. Little did we know all that 2 years ago when we had those first cases in York. But there was something in that experience here at the university in late January 2020 that set a tone which I think has endured. But let me pick out some recollections from our first encounter with COVID in January 2020. But first and foremost, there was an extraordinary sense of shared purpose that arose immediately across the university community. Even though things were uncertain, nobody knew much about COVID at the time, students, staff, people across the city came together. It was heartening, for example, to see Samara Jones, the then president of our Students' Union, on the front steps of the university before the amassed TV cameras and a pretty frenzied pack of journalists, basically saying, "Look, you lot, keep calm, we've got this." And when we set up a call centre to deal with all the many anxious inquiries that came our way, we had more volunteers from among our staff than you could shake a stick at. They understood the anxiety that people felt, and they responded with understanding and compassion. And when a tiny minority in this city resorted to stereotypes and scapegoating about the source of the virus, the response in the university and the city was emphatic. We are not having that here. It is unacceptable. Instead, the city rallied round. We worked from the off with the City Council, with the local health service, with York St John University just down the road, to manage that uncertain situation. And that set a tone which has persisted and been a tremendous asset for the city and for this university over the last years. Those responses, shared purpose, compassion, solidarity, collaboration, became emblems of this university's response to probably the most difficult period it has ever had. Now let me pick out a few examples concerning both students and staff. And I'll dwell first on my colleagues and the combination of dedication, hard work and creativity that they have applied to teaching and to supporting our students over the last 2 years. At times, as you will full know, we had to shift teaching and support services fully online. At others, we could only do some things in person. And only last September could we move generally back to in-person activity. Government guidance kept on shifting. Things were never stable. My colleagues, lecturers, timetablers, technicians, cleaners, they had to adapt again and again and again. And that, to be frank, was a strain, especially when it was combined at times with working from home, and especially in periods when people had homeschooling to contend with as well. And I think the shared professional commitment of our staff to our students through all of this has been extraordinary. What's also been extraordinary is how all that was accompanied by continuing outstanding research achievement. Colleagues found the time and the inventiveness to continue their research. You can look at all the great stories on our website where we're reporting the results of research. That is research that was done during COVID. And of course, some of that research in all parts of the university has been focused on COVID and its effects. What a confirmation the response to the pandemic has been of the value of universities and of the expertise that they contain to our society. Extraordinary, too, was the way staff of all kinds mobilised to support the welfare of our students. We had a really difficult moment at one stage in the pandemic when we had 2,500 of our students in this city in self-isolation, either because they had COVID or they were a close contact of someone who did. They couldn't go out, couldn't go to the shops, couldn't go to the doctors. We had to make sure they were fed and had other essentials. And that was a huge logistical effort, and we could only do it through staff from all backgrounds, volunteering on top of their day jobs to make up food packs and deliver them, to phone students to see if they were okay, and much, much more. So, let me record my thanks to my colleagues, and let me call on you our graduates to applaud our outstanding staff and everything they've done over the last couple of years to support you through your time at the university. Thank you. Now, another big part of our COVID response concerns our students, concerns you. It was an extraordinarily difficult time, teaching being delivered in different ways, less in-person contact than any of us would have wanted, and with all of those other parts of the usual student experience, sports, societies, nightlife, at times in part or wholly off limits. Many students had COVID, many more had to self-isolate, some struggled financially because part-time work dried up amid COVID restrictions. The whole experience was taxing. And to be frank, students had very little in the way of support or even understanding from our government here in the UK. Now that sounds like a tale of negatives, but there's more to it than that. That's not the whole story. That's in part because of the commitment of our staff to deliver the best education they could and to support student welfare as best they could. It's in part because you, our students, were so resilient. You adapted to studying in different ways and helped us to understand how best to use online teaching methods. You adapted to socialising in different ways, in part online, in part outside. And when we were able in the last academic year, we ran an outdoor facility called The Forest. And it was booked out every night by student societies, sports clubs, colleges, no matter what the weather. And as I'm sure you will know, socialising outside in a Yorkshire winter takes real commitment. On top of all that, our students' unions, and it's great to have representatives here on the stage with us today, were so inventive, working with my colleagues to identify student needs and solve them, including, for example, hundreds of 4G boosters for students with unreliable Wi-Fi, Christmas hampers in December 2020 for students unable to travel home, delivered to their door by special arrangement with Morrison's supermarkets. And beyond all that, our students rallied to support the community in this city. We had until recently a COVID test site on campus, a community test centre open to all in the city, and it was staffed throughout by students. Students volunteered in the community in all sorts of ways. One that stands out for me was our Student Tea and Coffee Club, which before COVID held coffee mornings on campus to provide companionship and conversation for elderly citizens in York. Couldn't do that, of course, with COVID, but they pivoted straight away into phone conversations, help with shopping, socially distanced chats across the garden fence and so on. Wonderful, and one of many examples of student commitment to the community in which they live. Our students, including you, our new graduates, showed tremendous resilience, commitment and compassion. Thanks for all you've done and the way you've dealt with the challenges that were thrown at you. So, another round of applause, please, for our new graduates. Our thanks too to your family and friends, including those supporting you in this hall today, but also others who may be watching us online. I noticed as some of you went across the stage earlier, we had some hollers and cheers and all sorts of unusual noises coming from the family and friends in the room. It's your chance to return the hollers and cheers now, so would you do that and give your appreciation to your friends, family and supporters? So I wish all of you, that you who can be here with us today and those who cannot, every success and happiness for the future. And please keep in touch. As you crossed the platform earlier, you became members of the York Global Alumni Association. That's a club of 140,000 or so people in 180 or so countries, so it's a pretty big club. And through that association you can keep in touch, share experience and insight, help and support one another, and of course keep your eye on what's happening here back at the university. We want you to see York as your university for life. Now, if any of you received financial support last year from our Emergency Student Support Fund, you have our alumni to thank. They donated hundreds of thousands of pounds to offer the support that many of our students needed. One day, too, you may be able to help future students at the university. Please think hard about your experience at York during these difficult times. You are a quite unique generation of graduates. You have the same academic credentials as earlier generations do. Like them, you've worked hard and you've mastered your subjects. But you have something more. You had COVID to contend with too. I think this university and this city had a distinctive, almost instinctive approach to COVID based in compassion and solidarity, looking out for one another. You were part of that, and it's an example of our values as a university, and I hope you'll take that with you as you move into the next stage of your lives. You can be sure it's something your future employers will value. I'm going to finish now by teeing up a video which was part of a submission which led us to being shortlisted for University of the Year last year. And I hope it will help you remember and reflect on how our university came together. Thank you.
At the University of York is one of the 2 Chinese citizens who have tested positive for the coronavirus in the UK.
So this statement from Public Health England
has the headline,
confirming
is the killer
that 2
virus
people
here?
had been staying in York.
Coronavirus
is a student at the University of York. Mike Kemp from our newsroom.
Begin.
When the first case in the UK was discovered here in York, I was visiting one of our partner universities, Maastricht in the Netherlands. Being the first case, there was obviously no script for us to follow. At the same time as having the world's media looking at us, everybody was here. We brought together a contingency group, medical experts, others who could help us think through the issues that we might face, and we worked from the outset with the City Council and the other educational institutions in the city. Well, we knew very little about the virus at the time, and our overriding concern was to keep people safe and to give them the reassurance that we could, and to prepare for what followed, what became probably the most challenging year the university has ever faced.
At the time, I think emotions were kind of all over the place. There was so much uncertainty, which provided a little bit of fear for the unknown and panic about what's going to happen next. The university was brilliant in that regard. They set up a phone line for students, for parents, for staff within the first 24 hours that anyone could call for any questions and reassurance.
The key thing was listening to students and making sure that they could see leadership and also a lot of compassion and kindness because, it was an uncertain time both for staff and for students. One of the main things the university did was introduce the Emergency Student Support Fund, one of the first universities in the UK to do so, recognising that students would lose things like part-time work and there'd be various financial challenges facing students, and that was really important to give students that financial certainty wherever they were.
We actually listened to what students and staff had to say, and with students we listened to what they had to say through their elected student representatives, being members of our contingency groups, and also by conducting pulse surveys as well, so that we captured the mood and indeed what students actually wanted, and we responded to that. We managed to get all of our teaching and learning online within a week of the pandemic starting, which I think is a remarkable achievement. We provided roughly about 6,000 welfare calls or checks on students in self-isolation throughout the pandemic. We actually provided lockdown loot for students as well, so we provided food, treats, activity packs, and even hampers at Christmas as well.
So clearly we would expect the university to step into the knowledge space and provide a greater, deeper understanding of the virus. However, the University of York went much further than that. It engaged communities, it's provided open access to equipment and facilities and space. It provided us with leadership and support and was very much a partner in dealing with the impacts of the pandemic on this city.
What I've learnt about the University of York community in the last year is that we are incredibly resilient and resourceful, that we're compassionate, that when we say that we're a university for public good, we actually live it as well, and it's about being a community that works together. I have a number of favourite stories from students. Actually, one concerns students actually working with elderly members of the local community to ensure that they could get access to the internet. So they provided training sessions and support so that these people could actually contact their relatives.
The founders of this university talked 60 years ago of what we, our staff, our students, would do to ameliorate human life and conditions. What a sense of purpose for a university to have, and my goodness, how much it has been our compass over the last year. That's what defines the University of York.
Ladies and gentlemen, I declare this congregation closed for the conferment of degrees. Congratulations to you all. Please will you stand for the academic procession.